Yes, the Senior National Coordinator for Counter-Terrorism, Deputy Assistant Commissioner Dean Hayden, said that there is enough evidence to suggest that there is a motivation, they believe, linked to Islamist extremism. So it has now been declared a terrorism investigation as they try, of course, now to determine whether there are any other individuals linked to this suspect and whether there may be a wider threat. Certainly Essex Police said yesterday that they didn't believe there was any further immediate threat to the community, but that doesn't of course mean that there weren't other people who may have had knowledge of what this man was about to do, may have in some way helped in the preparation for that attack, or maybe planning something similar themselves. This is always something that counter-terrorism detectives and intelligence services have to factor in as they go forward and look at the potential for a wider picture. We know that the Home Secretary, Priti Patel, met with police and senior security and intelligence experts yesterday, chairing a special meeting of them to look at the potential wider ramifications. She's also instigated an urgent review of security surrounding MPs and VIPs, particularly MPs, of course, back in their constituencies where they are most vulnerable in terms of them coming face to face with members of the public, something that is clearly very important to them, this public engagement and accessibility, but nevertheless does put them at added risk. So police forces throughout the UK have now been tasked with looking again at those security arrangements to see if they can be improved, to see if more advice can be offered. In terms of the events yesterday as they unfolded, shocking and fast-moving events, I've been looking back at the sequence of events yesterday.
At the scene of the attack, a heavy police presence as police officers continue to piece together the exact sequence of events that led to the horrific murder of a much-loved local MP. Sir David Amess had been holding his regular Friday constituency surgery inside the Belfairs Methodist Church when the attackers struck. He was stabbed multiple times. Essex Police confirmed a 25-year-old man was arrested nearby on suspicion of murder.
The investigation is in its very early stages and is being led by officers from the Specialist Counter-Terrorism Command. We made it clear at the time of the incident that we did not believe there was any immediate further threat to anyone else in the area. It will be for investigators to determine whether or not this is a terrorist incident.
The killing of their local MP has deeply shocked people here in Sir David's Southend West constituency. And that trauma is being felt much more widely. Flags are flying at half-mast over Parliament and key government buildings. And the Prime Minister has returned to Downing Street as he and fellow politicians absorb the news of this horrific murder.
The reason I think people are so shocked and saddened is, above all, he was one of the kindest, nicest, most gentle people in politics. And he also had an outstanding record of passing laws to help the most vulnerable.
Paramedics were quickly on the scene of the attack and specialist trauma doctors responded on board the local air ambulance. But despite their best efforts, there was nothing they could do for the 69-year-old MP who died at the scene.
Well, clearly the first thing to say is our thoughts are with his family and his staff and his friends. I suspect this must have been a shocking occurrence for those of his staff who were with him when the event happened. And obviously for his family, you can't think of a worse tragedy to happen to a family.
The murder of Sir David Amess has again highlighted the risks faced by politicians in an increasingly contentious political environment. In 2016, Labour MP Jo Cox was stabbed to death by a right-wing extremist in her West Yorkshire constituency at the height of the debate over Brexit. And 6 years before that, Labour MP Stephen Timms was stabbed and injured in his constituency offices by an Islamist extremist. The motive for the murder of Sir David Amess is still unclear. Police have said they're not looking for any other suspects, and they don't believe there's any wider threat to the public. Mark White, GB News.